So part of
15 from Edmont.
Victor's argument is that Evie's going to outlaw this wine anyway, so...
Very likely, but if she does, it doesn't mean they have to stop producing it. They just have to do it in secret.
It's called bootlegging.
Can I apply my any magical whatchamacallit to this check?
As long as it's like your own
From
resource.
Me. Yeah, so long as it's from me. Okay, cool.
Bathtub blood wine.
And Edmont got what?
15.
15?
6, 11.
11.
Victor had a 20.
Ekon, give me a religion check.
Sure.
For the religious elements of this.
That's a 16.
Okay. These people are not very trained in the way of the Etherine Church. They've not been exposed to it like the villagers in Silverbow have. So this is their first, or at least strongest, introduction to a lot of this. Uto seems to approve of proceedings, especially when the accusations come to light. It's more than he thought Rake was capable of, but you can see that he's disgusted by the situation. Rake does spend a lot of the trial. It's just a little bit of blood magic. I'm going to make everybody rich. We're going to produce the best wine in the countryside. King Aslan himself is going to buy carts of this stuff. Victor, you immediately put the kibosh to that, just saying, like, Evie's not going, like, the Duchess is going to outlaw it. You're not going to be, it's not going to be legal to sell it, and you're not going to have anybody to sell it to, because once people learn it comes from blood magic, nobody's going to buy it. Kind of playing on, like, the superstitions of the townsfolk. And by the end of it, Rake and Lucy have no good defense for their position, and the townsfolk are pretty much completely turned against them.
So what do we do with them now?
Someone suggests just putting them in the hole and leaving them there.
Ekon will perform the execution if he has to.
We've been doing hanging. That's the way we've been executing people.
Okay.
In my mind, this is very clear cut. They were both in on it. They were going to kill Lugrin. Evie's going to take that very personally. She's not going to let someone who is planning to kill a member of the ruling family off.
Is Evie going to hang them herself, or does she want someone else to do it?
I mean, the villagers would construct a gallows. Like, Uto would be first in line to get it put up.
I mean, Victor will do it, because somebody in the family needs to do it. But he thinks Evie should be the one, since she's the one that passed judgment.
He'll do it.
What? Like, construct a gallows?
No, do the actual hanging. The actual execution.
Then, yeah, it's... People of the village make a day of it. A gallows is constructed near to the bridge. The sentence is carried out. Evie's the one that pulls the lever. Is that correct?
Sounds good to
If
me.
Evie does not want to, Edmont will.
Yeah.
She'll do it. She's a big girl.
Yeah, she's only like 5'7".
So you come away from it kind of feeling like you have projected strength and righteousness to the villagers. They definitely feel like they are buying into it, especially when it was pointed out that House Veritas will not stand for blood magic. We wouldn't let you do it anyway, and nobody would buy it. The question of whether like the Ferniscan culture and religion is better for them, they seem to be open to that idea too. The problem is they don't have a priest in the village.
Mm-hmm.
Well, we can work on that.
Did we have any priests suddenly appear while we were like over the spring?
I literally have Abernathy looking into that.
You do have one guy, that the con man, that you kind of trained up, but he's like, his hands are full back in Silverbow when Ekon is out on adventures.
Right. You think we could get like that one guy from the boat?
I mean, my thought is,
campaign?
I'm thinking we can. This is why I've been looking out for people that actually, can read and write and are educated. Is that we can start training them. This is also why I made multiple copies of all of the Etherine texts.
Okay.
But that's like, they'll have to wait till we get there. And again, I think I would like to start once we can actually get a priest out here. I would like to institute a tithe where they can actually focus on their studies, and the village would just need to, feed them, which seems reasonable to me. I don't know if your grace considers that to be.
You want to tithe to fund the church out here?
Yeah, but again, it's going to be one guy, so the tithe is going to be you're going to have to feed this guy.
Oh, well, that's probably fine.
So now we have nobody to make wine, and we got all these grapes that are just going to rot on the vine.
We can find right now it's just wheat. We can find another guy. There was a guy in Drala's land who we talked to. He's a vinter. Maybe we can go find and talk to him.
I mean, Lugren's been reading up on the subject all winter, and he's willing to stay on and be the man in charge.
Yeah, I wanted to make sure he was safe. I never questioned that he was capable of taking this task on.
Yeah, Lugren doesn't Lugren strikes me as a character as secretly he just needs the thing to be good at. And I think being a professional drunk suits him.
Yeah.
So Evie will proclaim these people that they do not need blood magic. They can make this town prosperous with their own hands. And she believes in all of them.
And you have convinced them.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, Lugren...
She has also projected that conspiracy against the ruling family is unacceptable and the people who did it are put to death.
And they absolutely were. So that's how things are kind of left in Alehurst. The conspiracy was unmasked. Lugren was... he's just living alone in that big house now.
What about his
buddies? What about his frat buddies?
They're there. I guess
in the same house.
They're hanging out with him.
But it's not that alone.
Like he said, it's a frat house now.
But the flip side of that coin is Lugren has been reading about it all winter, but that's not the same as having a lifetime experienced.
Well, that's what we were. That's kind of what we were expecting. It's
we'll figure that out.
We were expecting Lugren to make mistakes and learn as he went. So
yeah.
Uto, kind of on the download, as you guys are leaving, without outright saying it, because that would be rude and presumptuous, but lets you know that he'll keep an eye on Lugren and ensure that he remains focused and a hard worker.
I appreciate that.
Mm-hmm.
Penny's still with us, right?
Yeah.
Penny's still
What's her reaction to all this?
That kind of depends. Her reaction to just the execution.
Well, someone was trying to kill a member of the family, and she watched her family put a stop to it.
But she's angry that somebody would want to do that to Lugren. She didn't actually watch the execution unless you made her do it.
No, I wouldn't make the child do that. That's no.
Do you ask her any other pointed questions about it, or just kind of trying to gauge her response?
I just want to make sure she's doing okay. That's a lot for a kid to handle.
I guess the next question...
But that's part of the stuff that we have to handle out here, and she wanted to be exposed to that.
Mm-hmm.
I guess the next question is we ask her if she wants to go to the... which village she wants to go to next. Does she want to go to the mining village or the village on the lake?
That's not her decision.
I don't know.
Well, that's GDC offering. Yeah, she's offering to let Tenny pick. I don't care which one we go to next. I think the fishing village is farther.
It is. Barazar is the forest village.
So we don't have a mining village yet?
Well, that's Barazar.
Okay.
Yeah. So that's the one that's it's more heavily forested. So yeah, I guess that's where she's going to want to go.
All right, then we are leaving Alehurst behind, leaving Lugren to his work.
And after we leave, Evie will turn to the others and she will say, I know I'm not perfect, but I would appreciate it if you guys would trust my judgment.
As soon as you start make a better judgment.
Your judgment was ultimately proved sound. I just think you need to sometimes stop and take a breath before you proclaim death on someone.
Agreed.
Understandable.
Jesus, you're more anxious to kill people than I am.
Well, you guys were ready to just leave him there to die.
No, I wasn't. I literally just walked Lugren out of the room and said, "How are we breaking into the thing?"
Yeah, I know Jeannie wasn't, but
yeah.
No, it's fair. I'm not paranoid enough, I guess. I haven't been here long enough.
Pattern recognition, Ekon. Pattern recognition.
Like Evie is trying. She's trying to learn to trust her instincts more because a lot of times she gets talked out of things.
Man, I don't even think it's so much as instincts as just everything out here sucks. It's like if you just assume everybody sucks, you'll be right 9 out of 10 times.
I regret to inform a lot of you, but I do tend to expect the best out of people before they've given me cause to do so, but that's just the way I am.
You know,
Yeah, things are going to get better.
and
We're making things better.
that
My
brings up a
brother,
great-
my brother is that much of an influence on me, yes.
Julie,
That's fine.
what horrible thing do you think we're going to find in the next village? Human side?
Well, let's go find out.
So the other two villages, you had sent advance word that you would be coming in the coming weeks.
Yeah.
I imagine we stopped back at the house instead of runner ahead.
Well, I was under the impression that you sent runners to all three villages.
Yeah,
but
that's
not the
fine.
first one because that was Lugren's job, and then he just didn't do it.
That's fine.
Okay.
Yeah.
Berazar is heavily forested, and in the miles kind of surrounding the woods, several mining shafts had been sunk. There are veins of tin beneath the earth here. Many of the mines have just been laying fallow and are in just a bad state of disrepair. Your understanding, nobody had actually come out to survey the mines themselves yet, but your understanding was that at some point long ago, the mines had been worked, but they had been abandoned just like the rest of the duchy. But now it does appear that Berazar has had a village here the whole time. Again, just a couple of, maybe 2 or 3 dozen families working. And the reasons the mines hadn't been worked is just because it had been way too dangerous.
All right.
Is immediately looking for child labor.
Very infuriated by this entire land gaslighting us.
So before we go into this village, Jeannie pulls out her journal and says, I need all of you to sign this piece of paper. And it says that, like, it basically just essentially says, on this date, we recognize that this bullshit village didn't exist previously, and that this land is gaslighting the fuck out of us. And like, everybody signs their name.
Evie
I will
signs it
agree
in
to
her
that signature.
power as Duchess.
Like, so we have this piece of paper. We can wait if one of us forget, like all 7. I want all 7 of us to sign in. Tinny and like everybody sign this, and that way we can sit there and we can point at the thing and say, look, this wasn't here. You signed it. And just I want to see like what level of cognitive dissonance that provides. Do their head explode?
Orson says he doesn't know that it wasn't here. You guys have never been out this way before.
We did. We surveyed this place.
No, not... Aelhirst
Survey.
you've been through. Berazar you've never been to.
Okay.
We sent surveyors up this way though.
Right,
We
but
haven't
you
personally
haven't
been
been
here,
here.
though.
You're asking Orson
Right.
to sign a thing saying that he has not, he has seen it wasn't
Fine. Fine. I scratch out the name and write Aelhirst. Is that better?
Orson just doesn't want to put his name to something that's not true. Orson's a good boy.
Yeah, a good boy who's planning insurrection.
The current infrastructure in Berazar is in a sorry state because a lot of things have to be cleared and repaired. The mine shafts probably can't be made safe on a short timeline, so it looks like they're kind of devoting their efforts to some of the smaller shafts much closer to the village. Shafts that they don't even... The proper surveying hasn't been all completed yet. Basically, these mines have been here for many, many years. They're decrepit, they're falling down, and they need to be made safe and workable again before ore can be extracted. Upon your arrival, that work is underway. That infrastructure is being built. The headman of the village comes out to meet you, an old widow by the name of Maxime Reichert. She comes out with her small entourage. She has children, but her children are both grown, and neither of them live here in the village with her. She transplanted here. It's kind of a similar story to Rake's, in that she and her husband and their family were 2nd or 3rd generation. They were working an iron mine. The mine collapsed her husband and one of her older children was killed, and the village surrounding it failed shortly after, when she heard that the duchy had mines that might potentially reopen. She and her other 2 children relocated here in Berazar. They arrived at about the start of the winter, similar to Rake. However, she doesn't seem to have as much command over the village as Rake did. She doesn't live in the biggest house, and she doesn't really seem to be well liked either. Although you're not sure exactly why. Now, you could ask her, I guess.
Well, we just met her. We're not going to ask you, why does no one like you? That's a very personal question. And one Evie asks herself a lot often lately.
The town is less welcoming than Alehirst was, where Alehirst, I mean, it wasn't on like a major trade route or anything, but it could potentially see travelers. Berazar is way out in the boonies. A lot of the buildings here have fallen to disuse and disrepair. There aren't even people living in them. There's not much in the way of trade or economics either. These people are basically just subsiding on the bounties of the forest. They don't even have much in the way of farmland. So a lot of energy is sent going out into the woods, foraging, and doing quite a lot of hunting. What you're offered when you arrive is, by way of taxation, which is what they assume you're here for, is a collection of furs taken from animals throughout the late winter and early spring. And in accordance with House Veritas's edicts, none of them are wolves.
Good. Could be my first question.
They don't yet have much trade in selling furs, but they have some set aside, and they're offering you a percentage of this is what they have by way of wealth so far.
Victor will ask how the mining is going.
It's not. They're not going to be able to start mining until they've made clear one of these shafts. This is the kind of expertise Maxime believes that she's brought to the village, and she's gotten some workmen pointing that direction, but she doesn't quite have the authority and pull. Like I said, the villagers just don't seem to trust her very much for some reason.
How would a series of 5x5 holes through the rocks, 5x5 foot holes through the rock, serve your mining?
She thinks, she clarifies, you mean by use of miracle.
Yes.
It is a kind offer, my lord, but I fear that miraculous holes sunk into the earth could destabilize the shafts that already exist. This is a task best suited for strength of arm and pick and axe rather than magic.
And why are you having difficulty getting people to help with this?
She doesn't outright say it because she doesn't want it to be true. She doesn't want to admit it. But the men of the village don't see her as an authority because she's a woman. Her husband worked an iron mine. They're overlooking the fact that she worked it too. That's what she believes anyway.
They have a
Ekon,
problem with female authority?
Eugenia will look at that response. Not the woman one, the first one.
Sorry, I didn't hear what you said. I heard Genie.
No, Ekon's just like giving Genie a look when she says that hammers are going to work way better than magic.
Victor glances at Evie with that knowing glare when she says that women are respected.
Like when you Genie's just fantasizing about a magic hammer now that mines automatically, like a magic impact hammer.
So these are copper and tin mines, right?
The ones here around Berazar are tin specifically.
Okay.
Wait, where in relation here is the copper that we had previously found? Is it further away, or is it this general area?
Here and there. Probably not near to Berazar, no. If Berazar gets up and running, it'll be a tin operation.
Gotcha.
They have do they have the stuff in place to start smelting the tin once they pull out of the ground, or right now are they just like they're going to get some tin ore and then they're going to send it somewhere?
They do, just as the village has attracted Maxime here because of this idea that there's tin to be had, there's good metal. There is a forge in the city. a friend of Maxime's that came with her from her previous village, who used to do iron castings and things. She's actually a pewter caster, most specifically. So that's what she's doing right now, because there's not yet plentiful tin. But her name is Florina. She's very talented, very beautiful. Like, it's almost a little unnerving seeing a woman work a forge, but her looks are disarming for a moment.
She's a
I think
YA
for us,
novel
it'd be more
protagonist.
unnerving to see a man working the forge.
He eats babies.
You're describing a YA novel protagonist, Brooke.
Exactly, yes. Like, Jeannie never comes out of her workshop, like, with makeup on and her hair did.
I don't think Jeannie owns makeup. She has to borrow it from Evie.
You have alter self.
Yeah, but I don't have makeup.
The other skilled tradesman in the town would be Yakopo. Yakopo is a young man, and he is the head forester of the village. He's the one that organizes the hunts, and what he offers from his half of the village is a supply of felled but unworked wood steel, silverbow trees, from the area. And you get the sense that he's turning this over, again, a percentage of what he's taken from the woods. You get the sense that he's turning this over. He feels under duress. He's not happy to be giving you this wood steel.
Mm-hmm. The trees that we declared that you had to have permission to fell?
We've received no such word, but if my lady insists, of course, no more will be done.
So, question, like, what? Like, I mean, as long as you don't clear them, I think it's fine.
Jeannie, give me an insight check.
Yeah, he's. That is a 12.
A 12?
Yeah.
At first you think he's resentful because he just doesn't want to be giving something valuable away. He's definitely resentful, but after you converse with him a little bit and tell him, like, hey, you can chop these down as long as you have, like, don't overfell them, you still see resentment there, but you don't think that's the reason. You don't think it's because he just doesn't want to give up something valuable.
Victor will lean over to Jeannie and whisper into her ear, I think it's because you're a woman.
Yeah, I think I got it, and I'll whisper. I'll look at him and like, yeah, I got that. Listen. What are you using the wood steel? What are you using the silver bow, the wood steel trees for?
Well, first, we didn't understand their significance. We were only cutting them for kindling, if you beg my pardon. But they don't burn particularly well, so we stopped. And you can't use them for building or crafting either. We really only have this amount of it chopped and set away.
Mm.
And we had heard from your runner that you held it in some esteem.
Yeah. Evie, can I borrow your knife?
Evie tossed it to her.
I catch it and show, like, and I show it to him, like, this is what wood steel looks like when you properly work it. And I hand him the knife.
And he takes it and he holds it in his hand very gingerly, very reverently. And you can tell, like, he's testing the weight of it.
Yeah, the whole thing is made out of wood. Like, it's not blade and handle and all of it.
And yet it keeps an edge, like steel. And he,
yeah, it's the name
he
of
touches the edge of it as though, and then he's like taken aback at how sharp it is. It actually draws blood, and he wasn't expecting that. May I make a request?
Sure.
He hands the knife back. My men and I lack the skill to do anything to work this resource properly. Can it be taught?
Yes. Jeannie has actually taught several people in our home village this. So,
Okay.
Like, this is not like secret knowledge that she's been keeping close to the chest. Jeannie does not. Jeannie's not good at keeping secrets. She
Okay.
wants everybody to know how to do everything.
Well, I would like to start a trade of wood steel, like perhaps with the lands of Randus to the north. They may be interested, and I know that they are doing pretty well for themselves economically, so they would have coin.
And then Jeannie like says, "Hold on, wait a minute," and she looks at him and says, "You were going to give us useless wood you thought was useless as your tithe?"
He looks kind of sheepish. We were told that House Veritas held the wood in some esteem. Forgive me, I thought it was perhaps a religious or sentimental connection. I did not understand its value.
A little bit of both. I mean, it came to these lands with us.
He tells you that he meant no offense, and you think he's probably being genuine.
Okay, all right. Like, what kind of? Basically, Jeannie's gonna list like the facility she needs to teach this, and she's just going to like with the Duchess's permission, I will do it.
Well, this isn't something you teach him over the course of a couple days. Like, if you've got a man back in Silverbow who knows the trade, it might be...
Right, I'm telling them what facilities they need. Like,
Okay.
you prepare these facilities
Gotcha.
to these things, and then we can do they. But you'll need this to get it started.
So
Basically, I'm giving.
Logistically, Maxine is going to stay with her sister and her friend in her shop for the duration, and then House Veritas can make use of her house for as long as you're here. So you'll have a place to stay here. That's about as good as they can do.
More
Very
than
gracious.
adequate.
What is the who is the Maxine's like major opposition for getting this mine up and running? Does she have like a singular opposition, or is it just a general like
It's just
malaise?
a general... Not malaise is the wrong word. It's just the people don't seem to trust her. She's in charge. She's the headman just because she's the most knowledgeable about what sort of trade needs to be done here. People here understand that the Duchess is going to want metal. And here's this woman who understands the trade of mining and processing, and she has an accomplice who was able to put together a pewter forge. It's just she's having difficulty getting the village rallied behind her. She thinks it's because of her sex. As far as a personal opposition, like Yakopo doesn't seem to like her very much, but he also doesn't interact with her a lot.
So just I'll ask Yakopo what he thinks about her. Like, just give me your honest opinion.
This
In
is
the
after
course-
you've negotiated that you were going to send a man out here to teach him and his
Yeah.
people. Okay.
Trying to get a lay of the land. Give me your opinion on the lady.
She says that her family was killed when a mine collapsed around them.
That happens. Yeah.
As soon as she opens a mine here, the same thing's going to happen again. It's a curse, isn't it?
Why would it be a curse?
Why wouldn't it be?
So this is just superstition.
Okay.
Yakopo seems to be convinced that there's a curse. He doesn't have a lot of skin in the game. He's not a miner anyway, but he seems to believe it.
All right.
And the people around the town, like, they don't like give Evie and Jeannie the stink eye for being women.
No.
They seem to,
Okay.
Evie really is the Duchess.
I mean, they avert their gaze as best they can because you're high nobility walking their streets.
Like, I guess I would take that. Like, yeah, they seem to think you're cursed. Like, this conversation. How Jeannie opens the conversation.
Back to
That's why they
Maxine.
do. Yeah, they think you're cursed. That's what's going on. Not because you're a woman.
She shakes her head. That's preposterous.
Yep, but that's
Agreed.
what they think.
And she offers apologies.
You don't have
She-
to
I mean,
it's
apologize
not-
for that.
It's not your fault that they might hold superstitious views.
I'm not immediately think of anything we could do to dispel that.
aside from opening up a mine and showing that it doesn't collapse.
I mean, does Jeannie's knowledge of woodworking and or blacksmithing give her any insight into the probably not like the insight of a running of a mine?
No.
Like maybe the like the structural engineering required to like beams and stuff.
No, not even a little bit.
Not even a little bit.
That's the wrong skill set. If you spent a lot of time here because you have like an engineering background, but it's not something you're not just gonna poke your head down into the hole and be like, oh, I'm gonna sign off on this. This is a good mine.
Right. Yeah, no.
If you were willing to stay here for like a whole season, you might be able to start making that determination.
Yeah. We'll call that Plan B.
And even if you did, there's no guarantee a mine wouldn't collapse. It's a mine.
Right.
It's a hole.
Yeah,
in the
it's a
ground.
mine.
Yeah, there's always
it's a hole in the
something.
ground.
Especially since Ekon's out there with his like god hole puncher, just dropping sinkholes. Perfect 5 foot squares.
His hole puncher. God, a hole puncher.
Looks like friggin' Minecraft out there now.
Our house is. We're gonna come back, and our house is just going to be in a sinkhole.
So yeah, that is the state of things in Berezar at the moment. The town needs direction and focus. They're unwilling to completely rally around this woman because they believe her family is cursed and that her curse has followed her here.
Well, why don't we publicly remove a curse?
Well, that would
I mean-
imply that they were right.
Well, you can have Ekon investigate. As the religious authority, he can check to see if there's a curse, and when he finds no curse, or if he does,
Yeah, Ekon is probably the closest we're going to get to somebody who could convince them there is or is not a curse. And while they're doing that, we could maybe spend some time squaring away the other stuff.
Victor is going to spend the time trying to figure out if there is a curse by talking to her, this woman, and seeing, would there actually be a curse? Do you have any bad run-ins or?
By talking to Maxime, you mean?
Yeah.
I mean, it's a very tragic story, and it seems true as far as you can tell. As
Did they
far as a
run the
curse
mine?
would be, they operated it. They didn't own it.
Yeah, okay.
It was owned kind of collectively by the village. But her and her husband were the senior most people working it. And she did actually work the mine. Like she was able to swing a pick. Like she knows
Big
the
muscular.
business, she knows the work. She has the skills to do it.
Like, did they mine into a bad area? Find something they shouldn't have found? It's a stranger approach. And
You're asking if there's a Balrog down there.
among other things.
I
They
mean,
dig too
I just need
greedily.
to know how greedily and how deep. That's pretty much it.
Yeah, everybody went down. All y'all are nerds. Every single one of you. All four of you.
Everyone's nerds.
I mean, it was an iron mine. It wasn't a gold mine. So, I mean, they weren't wearing velvet silks to bed, if that's what you're asking. But the question of, like, too greedily and too deep kind of doesn't... Like, you're going to try to extract as much usable ore out of a mine as you can. If you're not going to dig deep and greedily, why are you digging at all? That would kind of be her standpoint. She knows how to exploit the resource to its maximum effect. And she would be willing, and she feels like she would be expected to do that if ordered to by the Duchess. This is the Duchess's wealth we're talking about.
Yeah,
So-
Victor is more interested. Like, did they find something that might have been a cursed object, or did somebody come and
Nothing
Yeah,
like that. It's,
take
it's,
this
it's,
off.
it's a tragic story, but not a particularly exciting one. Just
So, like,
part of the mine collapsed while most of the miners were in the shaft, and very few people survived. And shortly after that, the village fell apart.
where was this village and this mine?
Elsewhere in Darkon.
so question. So the way I see this is we have basically just a few avenues of attack here. We have a village that doesn't trust her, essentially. They think she's cursed because Darkanese peasants are the worst.
Barovian peasants are the worst.
I don't have a whole lot of listen, the only Barovian peasants we've met have been absolutely nice.
Strahd was very hospitable.
I wonder if that's actually true. Is that actually true by the metric that Barovian peasants are the worst?
Yeah. Kind of. They're
But,
pretty awful.
But the peasantry they're superstitious and they don't trust outsiders and whatever. I think she has a leg up because she actually is from Darkon, so we don't got to worry about that. But we either can just have Evie declare she's in charge, get on board and get this worked, and institute quotas and all this other stuff to get stuff rolling. We basically just tyrant it. We try to we appease the peasantry with pageantry from Ekon, or we hire outside help. We bring workers in from outside and just have them work the mine.
Well, I don't know where we would get workers from.
I mean, we could find some. Yeah, that'd be a little harder to do, but we might be able to find some people to do that. Yeah.
I mean, we got to convince the people that it's safe to mine, but that's not really my wheelhouse.
It isn't safe. That's the problem. Mining sucks.
Yeah, that's absolutely fair.
We have to make it obvious that it's not cursed.
Yeah.
Right.
It's a medieval peasant mine. There's probably one piece of string holding it up.
I mean, we could put a blessed silverwood token on the thing in the mine to ward off curses.
What if we had Ekon use his magic to make the mines safer?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. We lied to them.
I already suggested I do, but
Yeah. That's if you tell them you're doing it.
Right. We because you have
suggesting some pageantry.
Yeah, pageantry.
So the idea on the table is Ekon's like, okay, we've identified this curse, and now I'm going to expel it from the village and make a show of it.
Or he could just say, no curse here.
I
was thinking he
probably make sure there isn't a curse before we say that.
Okay, well, get to work, curse man. This is your job.
Victor will relate what he learned from the woman. Doesn't seem like they found anything that would curse him, but
All right.
Anyway,
Go ahead and give me a... Ekon, give me individual Arcana and Investigation checks.
Can I assist him in these because I am proficient in both of those?
Yeah, that's fine.
Okay.
Are you going to give me enhanced ability too, or I can do it myself? Okay. Well, if you give it to me, then I can guidance.
Right. So he has enhanced. No, well, I'm assisting you, so you have advantage anyway. But you can take a +5 on both of these.
Sure. So the Arcana is 22. And then was the second one religion?
Investigation.
It was investigation. Investigation is lower. 18.
It would kind of be impossible to prove that there's no curse at play here. But I mean, going through, I'm assuming your investigation is asking townfolk about the nature of this curse, getting to the bottom of assuring yourself of the truthfulness of Maxime's story, etc. As far as you can tell, there's no curse in place. You don't see any malignant magic upon her. I mean, you've dealt both with Victor and with Edmont over the course of the past year. They were both cursed. Edmont still is. And there's nothing at play here like that with Maxime. That said, unrelated to any particular curse, you do detect magic inside of the forge, where Maxime is currently staying with her friend Florina.
I was actually going to ask him to visit the forge.
It's the only traces of magic you pick up in the village, and it's very faint. Actually, you got an Arcana of 22, yes?
Yeah.
One of the principles of the interplay between magic and metal is that if you have a magical item and you put it behind in a lead-lined box, it becomes undetectable. If the box isn't prepared properly, or if it's cracked, or if the lead isn't pure enough, you can get very faint readings. That's what this reminds you of as you walk back and forth by the forge throughout the village.
Okay.
So yeah, no curse, but something going on at the forge.
And like, can I investigate? Can I get? I'm going to ask them for permission to analyze her forge.
Florina is willing to go ahead and give you the once over. There's not much to see, honestly. It's just a humble little. I mean, she has pewter castings, little
Right.
decorative bits, hat hooks, and little metal fasteners and pieces and things. And there's not any actual metal being taken out of the ground here. So she has a very small supply that came with her from when she traveled from.
Mm-hmm.
And she gets some trade now and again, like when a Vistani Vardo comes by, she can hawk some of these little pieces, and she makes a little bit of coin doing it. She's really eager to start pulling tin out of the ground.
Yeah, that's like one of the major components of pewter, isn't it?
Yeah. Like the major.
But yeah, no, like, so like, did Ekon? Like, I'm assuming that Ekon, because I had to assist him with that. I know that.
Unless
That
Ekon
is-
says otherwise, that's common knowledge in the group. Everybody
Yeah. knows
knows that there's not a curse, but something smells in the forge.
Like, I'm going to like squint at the forge and point at where Ekon's where the magic signature is, and ask her what the faint magical signature is.
You're trained in Arcana, right?
Yeah,
There's no faint signature coming from the actual forge at all, where the metal is being cast. Somewhere else in the building, perhaps, but not here. Are you just gonna straight up ask her about it, straight across?
yeah. It's like, what's the magic I feel in here?
And she looks delighted and a little flattered. And she says that she doesn't often think of her work as magic, but there is a sort of magic to it.
No, I mean like actual magic. Like, I feel it. It's in this. It's in here. Like, is it in a direction I can pinpoint?
No, because as I explained to Ekon, it's almost like it's being repressed as though a magic object was placed in a lead-lined box.
Do you have any lead boxes in here?
Well, it's been many years since she's done any work with lead, not since her apprenticeship.
Yeah, lead is kind of brittle and hard to work with. I understand, but like, have you seen? Do you have any lead boxes on the premises?
No, she doesn't.
Okay. Thank you for showing me your forge. I have some tools that I'd be willing to share with you while I'm in the thing if you need them. And
That's a very gracious offer, my lady, but I have my own tools.
right, I understand. Thank you very much. And I'm gonna go, Evie. Can you do the thing where you find the thing and like find a lead box?
What if it's not in a lead box? What if it's just
Okay, well,
pretty
why
cool?
specifically? Like, you think somebody is hiding an object in a lead box?
Well, it doesn't necessarily have to be a lead box. Just
Can I search for objects made of lead generally, or does it have to be more specific than that?
You mean with
Locate object, right?
the locate object
Locate
spell?
object. Yeah.
Yeah.
You could just specify lead and get the nearest lead object, I guess.
Okay, so you want me to do that, Genie?
Yeah, come on. Like, come on, Ekon. You come too.
Okay. Evie pulls out her house relic, and it like kind of, in this mode, it kind of turns into like a compass, and I'll cast locate object, trying to detect any objects made of lead in the vicinity.
Are you doing this inside of her shop?
It doesn't have to be inside. I can detect it up to 1,000 feet.
Understood, but are you going into her shop before you're doing this?
I don't think so.
Let's start outside and then like work our way in.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. You know what's funny? Is like if you can't use magic to detect something through lead, how could you use it to detect the lead itself?
Kind of an interesting role snafu.
I mean, not with locate object. Locate object doesn't specify lead at all. Detect magic is what specifies.
Yeah. Would if you had something in a lead box, would it block locate object? That's an interesting question.
Yes, it would.
Yep.
Literally the last line of the spell.
Oh, okay.
Pretty sure that's on the spell, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, you're right. Can't locate an object if any thickness of lead, even a thin sheet, blocks direct path between you and the
Yeah,
target.
but I can detect
Your spell
lead.
doesn't find anything made of lead. What's even an example of like a small incidental item you might find made of lead in a village like this?
A pencil? I don't know.
No, that's wrong. That's not.
Fight.
Jewelry, paint.
But no,
Pipes.
there's
Like
no lead whatsoever.
Yeah, Evie
spell
shrugs.
just does
Like,
not paint.
tinge soldiers and stuff. I don't know.
So
something else you want me to try finding? Like, I think we have to have a better idea of what we're looking for.
Well, there's something in there.
Victor is just gonna walk into the shop and just start looking at all the different things.
Yeah, it seems like, if you
Victor.
get interested in her work, she might just show you everything.
You have
Maybe, like-
rogue levels, do you not?
I have rogue levels and I also have Arcana.
But as a rogue, you have access to the thieves' cant.
Yes, I do.
Thieves can't what?
You walk in. Oh, this guy.
Listen, you have feet go in your socks.
They do go in your socks.
I don't want to hear it.
You walk into the shop in the middle of a transaction where she's bartering some small pewter fastenings, maybe for a wardrobe or something, with one of the townsfolk, one of the men, who works. It looks and smells like a huntsman. Let's be honest. It just dirty furs and maybe smeared with deer urine or whatever. And he exchanges some coins back and forth, but you pick up a few words in thieves' cant between the two of them. It doesn't mean much to you because you don't know the nature of their agreement, but they are signifying a transaction being made here above and beyond the exchange of coin for these pewter fastenings. And then she greets you warmly as you come in. My Lord Victor.
Hello. I just figured I'd have a look around your shop. It seems you have some interesting items.
You flatter me, but there's very little interesting for motions to Victor, who's well dressed with lots of fancy things and.
Real talk. I kind of picture Victor as being kind of looking like a hobo.
Why?
I don't know.
You're mean.
I don't know. I just have this mental picture.
It's
Just kind of unkempt.
I mean, yeah, she's happy to show you, but she doesn't have anything very exciting. Just her little castings, pewter goods.
Victor kind of goes through each of the pewter castings and looks at them all and comments on the quality of the craftsmanship and the artistic characteristics as best he can with his bullshit knowledge of both of those.
And she's happy to accept your compliments, but she's also, you can tell that she's being very polite. Like, she knows that you probably don't know a lot about what you're talking about.
And so he's kind of looking for any traces of magic as he goes through with various items, and then
Yeah, if you're trained in Arcana, you can detect the magic in the shop, but you're not able to pinpoint exactly which item it is. It's extremely faint. Or it's being suppressed by some other...
so Victor will ask if she has anything new that she's working on in the back, and if so, could he see it as a sneak preview?
She says that there's nothing of the sort. A lot of the things she makes on commission. She's talented at her job, but she's not extremely imaginative in the way that, say, the lady Eugenia is.
And so then he'll ask about the huntsmen, and do they get a lot of huntsmen here, or what do they trade in?
And she's happy to talk at length about some of them.
And then he'll ask what else she was trading the huntsman. And then he'll ask her in Thieves' Camp.
What do you say in Thieves' Camp?
Show me what you're not showing me.
She responds, by acknowledging that you know that she's hiding something, but that she doesn't see herself as being obligated to answer you. Like, if you all... She would only need to bring you into that state of her business if you were already on the inside of it, and you're not.
Victor will politely explain to her that he respects her privacy, he respects her desire to turn a profit. However, they just came from a village where people plan to sacrifice one another to grow crops, and so he's going to have to insist.
Her understanding is that Aethar Ekon is here to rid the village of that sort of supernatural influences. A plot that she 100% supports, by the way, because it means that the mine will be opened much sooner.
And the issue with that is that part of his investigation may lead to turning your shop upside down if he gets a hint that something might be going on here. So it's best if you just let us know now, and we can avoid any public embarrassment or blowing things out of proportion or making problems where they don't need to exist.
And at this point, she just insists that there's nothing to report. She's obviously lying, but she does not tell you what she's up to and doesn't give you any indication.
I will give you this one last chance to show us what's back there.
Though she'll invite you to the back of the shop if you like.
Well, no, you basically show us what she's hiding. You know, show us what you're hiding. This is the last time we're going to ask nicely. We really don't want to impose. We don't want to cause problems. But we also need to make sure there's no darkness going on.
There's
And we can't take you at your word. So you
10
need
or
to show-
12 hours of darkness every night. It's getting less and less as we get deeper into spring.
Is this really how you want to do it?
She acts like she doesn't know what you're talking about. You don't get anything else out of her.
Have it your way. Victor will turn and walk out.
So Victor returns to the rest of the group.
She's hiding something. She won't show it to us. Given the people we've dealt with, you know what to do.
So she's friends with the foreman lady, right?
Yes.
Okay. I guess we should just start there and ask her.
So asking Maxime.
Yeah, does she know anything about, what kind of magical stuff does Florina get up to? Like, then if this doesn't work, the next step is probably just to basically walk into Florina's shop and say, we're going to turn the place over, but if you don't like it, tough shit. I don't want it to get there if it doesn't have to.
Maxime doesn't seem to know anything, doesn't understand the line of questioning. To her, it would be a complete shock to her if Florina knew any sort of magic.
But does she know that Florina is doing stuff on the side? That's Victor's question.
She doesn't look too closely at Florina's business, if that's what you mean.
Oh, well, alternately, what is the that hunter? You think you could identify the hunter that was in there?
Most likely, yeah. If by the smell, if nothing else.
I mean, how can you tell? They all smell like piss.
Is that what a hunter smells like?
Yeah, like, if you've never been hunting, like, that's an actual thing they do. They rub piss on themselves.
No.
It helps hide your scent.
Gross, but accurate.
Yep.
EP.
Yeah, I guess Victor will look for the hunter.
Like, but if Maxine, just before Victor does that, does Maxine, like, has Maxine seen anything, like, out of ordinary staying at the house? Just
It's cramped in the shop, and she doesn't outright say that she's looking forward to having her house and her own bed back, but you can tell that that's the case.
Okay. Well,
Okay. Hmm.
we're rapidly moving into espionage, which is not my.
Yeah, but at the same time, I'm very distressed about the direction that this is going because, the last town that we went to, we ended up rooting something out and then executing someone. I really hope we don't have to go that route
Well,
again.
I hope so too, but we don't know enough about what's going on to know if we need to do that yet.
I hope we don't, because that puts like unreasonable expectations when we get to the third one. We'll be like obligated to go for the hat trick.
I mean, Victor tried to work it out.
Yeah, I mean, I could go in there and say, we're going to turn this place over, and she's
Like, okay,
not going to be able to do much.
We know that they obviously have magic, right? That's like I saw it.
It's smuggling
Some
or black
trace of
market
magic, yes.
or something like
And
that.
then we know that at least the woman who worked at the forge has gotten the same sort of training that the two of you did to convey messages, to hide cryptic messages within normal conversation, which everyone from our home who's done that basically knows how to pick your pocket. We all agree on that, right?
Yes.
It's a likely combination of skills, yes.
I mean, occasionally, right? Like, I'm sure there are some number. I mean, look, there are some number, I think, of like trained scouts for the Republic that use that, but don't actually, Anyway, at any rate, my opinion at this point is that I should make a show of having a large conversation here and saying that I have found no such curse. The mines appear to be completely safe as far as mines go. Jeannie, can you back me up on that? Do we have any engineers?
I mean, I'll put my engineering stamp on anything you want me to. I don't care. I have no scruples.
So this will be the last thing for the
It doesn't
session.
help me if it's not actually going to be safe.
But Ekon, so
Yeah.
you're going to affirm that there is a curse and then remove
No,
the
I was
curse.
gonna say, there is no curse. Maybe it didn't follow her. There was one other thing I wanted to do. Is as a ritual, I would love to cast Commune.
Commune.
Yep.
Let me take a look at this spell here.
Is this more of Ekon's expensive cocaine addiction?
No, this one's
masquerading as magic.
free.
This is the one where he casts.
Ridiculously good spell for a ritual that doesn't have any material components.
Oh, good.
Like, I'm making it a point not to cast this 3 times a day.
You should just cast it 3 times a day, and
Air will be so annoyed with you if you did that.
when you get to 6th level spells, throw in a 4th one.
No, the reason you don't cast it 3 times a day is there's a 25% chance of failure each cast that builds up.
God, stop taking your
The ritual, I
All right.
it's casted 6 times.
Yeah, this will be the last thing we do for the session. We've had 3 yes or no questions from Air regarding the mines.
My Lord Error. In this village, if they were to continue excavating these mines, would any supernatural forces oppose them?
No.
In this village, if the blacksmith and the tin miner were to be left alone with no more further intervention from us, would they cause any harm to the village?
No.
In this village, if we leave with the proper amount of proclamation and circumstance, will the people of the village trust the 2 earlier facts if I confer them to them?
That's an unclear answer because it's going to depend on how well you perform the task ahead. You need to convince them that there's no curse.
Okay. And I will convey that conversation with Air to my party.
Well, then, sounds like you need to get ready for a day of ritualing.
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah, I still don't believe that she's not selling babies or something. Sorry.
Well, she's doing something. We'll find out what.
I mean, look, Victor, you should get her to bring you in on whatever it is.
Well, that's what I like, but we'll see what happens, I guess.
All right. I'm going to go dark for 2 minutes while I tally up all the experience you didn't earn this session because there was no combat. I mean, we could have gone into combat with Rake in his basement, but I feel like that would have been over real quick.
It was like 2 XP.
I wouldn't have given you experience for that combat, no. He was just a commoner. But yeah, I'm gonna go dark for 2 seconds. If you guys want to start thinking about some blips, I'll be right back.
It was most creative today.
Who was really behind that experience? Was that Edmont?
I think it's still me.
Yeah.
But don't let that sway any decisions.
I actually do want to put it on Edmont for his. I had it and I lost it. I'm sorry. I had it and I lost it.
All right, then, who furthered the party's goals the most today?
I'm going to put that on Victor for his searching the obluette and then cornering the guy and just showing him the evidence.
Yeah, he did. He did corner the guy. Smooth operation. Badass is Ekon for standing up to Evie the way he did. Intangibles is Edmont for the same scene, just defending his. No, I'm gonna give Edmont intangibles for that little scene after where somehow the NPC helper buddy has like decided that I got your back, fam.
Yeah, it was unreasonably quiet during the whole conversation in the room.
And for badass, I want to
Oh, we didn't do
say
creative, did we?
No, we didn't do creative yet, I don't think.
I guess creative could be Evie for using a divination to prove that all the incredible red flags in the village were actually a sign that something bad was going to happen.
the problem with giving you blips is that you're really close to level, and our experience goes down when you level. But yeah, that's fine.
All right, who wants to make a case for some blips real quick?
I can go.
Genie.
Chaotic neutral. When in doubt, go with your gut. For using my gut to follow, like, my gut reaction is to follow Evie's gut reaction. So, like, calming, and I calmed Lugren down and said, okay, how are we breaking into this room to get your, your stuff?
Didn't trust Lugren at all.
His
trust.
judgment was incorrect in that situation.
I mean, listen, when Lugren has had about 24 life and death situations where people are lying to you and plotting your death, I'll start to take it, and like he walks away from them, I'll start to take his word a little over.
Wait, isn't Lugren's whole thing he literally walks out of every life and death situation with no one else comes back from?
No, that's the friend of the family.
Valeri.
Yeah.
That's Valeri. Okay.
Can any of you make the case that the best use of Lugren's life is not to make a really profitable vineyard?
It's what he would have wanted.
I don't
So
think...
we were supposed to silence the lambs him?
Just throw him in there like it puts the lotion on the skin, or else it gets the hose again.
What else you got for me?
Ideals, practical solutions to impractical problems. For proposing that we, like you got 2 things you want to grind, right? So why don't we make your grinding stone like modular? We take this stone out, we put another stone in, right? It'll be more work, but in the long run, it'll be cooler. And then I don't have anything for my flaws, but the YouTube. So that's 3.
All right, and who's next?
I can go.
Ekon.
Lawful good, the shining words of air lay down a path for us all for refusing to cast Geos on Edmont. That one's pretty self-explanatory.
Yep, I think so.
Ideal, give me a reason for trying to convince the whinier that obviously someone else must have put you up to this, so just tell me who it is so we can track down the right person. And then Flaw, I'm sure there has to be something good just over this hill for learning that he is not paranoid enough.
Be more paranoid.
This village is fine. I don't know what's wrong with you guys.
Pattern recognition.
Yeah, but
Paranoid.
Bellarzar is perfectly fine, yeah. What are the chances that all 3 villages have dark, evil conspiracies to unearth? Like,
In
Pretty
Darkon? 100.
Pretty high. Like I said, maybe we should go for the hat trick.
all right, who's next?
I could go.
Evie.
You mess with my family, you mess with me for saving her brother and not even considering trading his life for a very profitable vineyard. That's absolutely not something she would do. I must become a leader others can believe in for her Disney princess scene. And then Flaw no one understands for getting shouted down about the Gia spell. Which I'm not going to admit was not a very paranoid idea.
I mean, it was a good idea. It's just, there's absolutely no way Ekon would do that.
Yeah, I agree.
I
It was
also
definitely
want
a
Edmont to
very-
slowly die of psychic damage over a period of...
3 days. Because how much damage is it? How much?
It's 5,
I
I think
think
5d10.
That just makes me angry.
Yeah, but you can only take the damage once a day.
Right.
So I 10, and I'm not allowed long rests. Yeah, that could kill him.
I'm actually a little surprised at how weak sauce the Gia spell was. Like,
Yeah.
it's much more...
I was reading it as the person who cast it could issue one-word commands to the person at any time.
Yeah, I'm surprised it's not wall charms you can't or whatever.
Yeah.
I'm surprised it's just damage.
Because older versions are basically like they own you now.
Yeah, I'm very, very curious. Oh, the spells in my 2nd edition PHB aren't alphabetical, though. They're by
I do know in
class
third edition, like if you don't do it, like you're not allowed to like commit suicide. It tells you can't kill, you can't attempt to commit suicide to get out of the spell. And like if you willfully or are prevented from obeying the geese for like a whole day, you start taking damage, and then like eventually you get sickened
Yeah, it's
until you just die. You just degeneratively die,
It's really nasty in 3rd edition.
Yeah.
and it takes like a wish to get rid of.
The creature must be intelligent, conscious, under its own volition, and able to understand the caster. This in 2nd edition. So yeah, my impression of Gias was like, if you take a holy vow, like a holy man could place this Gias on you to kind of give you like a holy quest that you're supposed to undertake, and now you're bound to it.
So
Rather
that's
than
actually,
use it as like coercion.
There was a lesser GS in 6th in 3rd edition. They had to make it that good.
there's an entirely different GS spell in 3rd edition called Quest that is that exact thing.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Well, in 5th edition, it just makes your brain hurt a little bit.
I don't know.
Who
5d10
wants
is
to
a lot of damage.
I mean, 5d10 being prevented from taking rests. Yeah, no, that would kill Edmont over the course of several days.
I can go.
Victor.
If it didn't justify the means, that would be breaking in the cellar to try and find out what's going on.
So the whole thing in the cellar was it was going to be like a ritual sacrifice room, but he hadn't installed like The
altar.
bloodstained granite altar. Yes.
The altar was on back order.
The altar's on stack order.
Get that from Pier 1.
IKEA Blorkin.
You guys,
7.
you guys unearthed the ritual blood murderer before he actually did anything. You just found his.
We are House Veritas. It's what we do.
Yeah.
He's on the. I like my IKEA Blorkin stogging.
Yeah.
What else does Victor have for me?
For ideal, seek the truth no matter the cost. That would be trying to learn how to talk to horses with Tinny.
What truth do you think horses have for you?
You know what? I bet you know the secret to happiness.
Where the best grass is.
And then flaw, values knowledge over people. That would be barging into Evie's room after eavesdropping to find out why she's yelling.
I wasn't going to give anybody else the opportunity to overhear that conversation until Saul actually started yelling.
Raising his voice, yeah.
Then I thought it was fair. Edmont doesn't want any blips, right?
Oh, no, none at all. None.
Okay.
0. None blips. I have my alignment, lawful neutral, check everything you can for give nothing back, for taking his, or taking Orson's pressure campaign under advisement. He's still very concerned about it because it could easily backfire if Edmont does make a power play. I have my ideal life as my canvas, and I will make my mark on it. For each one of these maps in these towns will have a map of it, and it has a little stick figure man, a little scarecrow man on each of them, despite Victor's best efforts. And I have my flaw, but this world is filled with predators and prey, and I sure as hell am not the prey, for balking at any suggestion of coercing Edmont into doing things.
Because that's something Prey would do. Predator would never allow somebody to cast a Gias spell and be like, don't be a predator.
Yeah, sit in a box.
Also, I feel like I've never heard the name of that spell pronounced the same way twice.
It's Gias. It's the correct.
Yeah.
Is it Gias or Gias?
Yeah.
It's Jifos.
Who did the most creative thing?
That was that Victor or was that party? That was party goals.
Yeah.
Uh,
You want to give to Evie for taking to use the Gias spell and that whole "I'm the Duchess."
No, that wasn't it. It was using the divination to finally convince the party that this town made of red flags was an all dangerous place to leave our brother.
Finally getting a clear answer.
Gina was just ready to go. She was like, "Let's get on to the next one. It's fine."
By the way, if you guys had left and not done anything, like Luger
would have died.
You would have gotten word in a month or two. Sorry, he fell off a horse or whatever. That would have just been the end of him.
We would have got some really good wine.
Oh, Perkard, you did mention something about the. I wish I was a player for this scene. I'm dying to know what your thoughts were for that.
In the
anyway,
arguing about the Gias spell.
Yeah,
that just seemed like it would be a fun scene to have opinions on. Who did the assists? The big assists.
Party goal. That was
Victor.
Victor for basically just the whole scene where he uncovered and like cornered the blood magic man.
Mm-hmm.
like, oh, I've fallen on this hole. Oh, look at this hook. What is all this?
Look at this obvious blood magic hole here. What is this doing?
It wasn't
here?
obvious. It was really well hidden. It was well hidden enough that none of your passive perceptions could catch it when he was giving you the tour. It was only when Edmont and Victor went back looking for something that they were able to find it.
My next character is going to have like a 30 passive perception.
The moral of the story is don't be a sussy baka.
Who was the badass?
That was
Ekon.
Ekon, yeah. for basically I have
Standing
for like
firm in his faith.
using law to
No, I will not enslave my brother. Thank you very much.
using law precedent and theological arguments.
Yeah,
and
it was
very entertaining to listen to. Also, that's like one of the most heated conversations I've heard Destil give.
Look, Ekon is lawful as fuck. I don't know if you're aware of that, but
Eevie's chaotic.
That's Edmont and Ekon are the lawful branch of the family here. But intangibles. Who is the most intangible?
That was
You wanted to give it to me for something that I don't recall it.
that was Edmont for his part in that scene, which was just no, you cannot like magically coerce me to do the thing. That's wrong, and I will not consent to it. And then at the end of that, the whole, hey, if you want to like be the Duke, I got your back. Like that whole scene. Just
For the record, there was never any actual danger that Edmont was going to be placed under a Gias spell if he didn't want to be. Like, I would just have allowed him to not have the spell work.
I mean, I would be willing to play it out that way. I mean, it's...
Evie has our straw poll for the week for attempting to betray all of her family by casting magic spells on them.
To enslave her family.
It
I
would
cast
be,
magic spells on my family all the time, and they love me.
to be fair, Evie's job would be a lot easier if you guys would just always do everything she says all the time.
Or take
True.
5d psychic damage.
That's her ideal work environment.
Everybody's taking psychic damage all the time.
She's just the only person in the room without a headache. Can you guess yourself?
That's a great question.
Hold on.
It's an awful question. We're what, level 10?
Eevee just hit level 11.
You.
Yeah, but
So
we're
this is our-
currently
this-
level 10.
So this is the last thing at level 10.
I guess I'm
Yeah,
not
before
leveling
blips
next
go
week.
down.
So blips are currently worth 700.
Yep.
Edmont. Everybody's rolling these over because everybody came into this last session with 6. Edmont's rolling over 4. Ekon's rolling over 4. Evie's rolling over 5. Genie's rolling over 3. Victor's rolling over 4. And when we come
How
back
much are
next
they worth
week,
again?
they're worth 700 each.
I'm rolling over 10 because they go down.
You're rolling over all yours. You're coming in next week with nothing.
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah, I'll
Okay.
say that's
I don't have
probably
enough.
smart.
Genie's also doing that?
Yeah, 0.
Yeah, 10. Yeah, let's do it.
I'll roll all night over, but I'm not gonna
Oh,
level.
I actually level barely.
Wait, what's the next level? Is it 85?
85.
Yeah, so I'm still short, but yeah, I'm going to do all 10.
Hold on, wait, math.
So Evie and Genie, you're the only ones with...
Hold on. I might have mathed wrong.
Victor, you coming in with 6?
If they're gonna go down, I have to roll over all 10.
I'm sorry, everybody. I can't
Oh.
control that I'm an experienced.
No,
I guess.
it's that weird part of the EXP chart.
Yeah, it's
So
fine.
Your fault.
Victor's cashing
It's
all his in
taking
right
out
now?
4 campaigns to realize that happens.
And so
No, I do not level. I am just short about 400 experience.
are you cashing in all your blips for next week?
Yes,
And
I am.
Is Evie?
I'm not cashing in any blips.
You're the only one coming. Everybody's coming with 0 blips except for Evie.
Eevee, this is Eevee's ideal work environment.
What? Nobody has any blips?
Nobody
And you're
has
level
blips.
higher than all of us.
With everyone, with nobody able to defy her, is that what's happening now?
I don't think anybody's having any trouble defying her, much to
Yeah.
her chagrin.
Like what? Like we all need to be like very worried if Eevee ever gets like a private army.
Who would she get a private army from?
I don't know. Where would she get a private army?
Where does
I'm
Big
not
Boss
telling
get his? She just go out in the woods and start attaching balloons to people.
Like how? Okay. Would the Fulton system be a common, uncommon, or rare magic item?
I think
And
we
can
can
I
just
make-
leave the stream there. That's a good line to go out on. Thanks for watching, everybody.
Thank you. Bye.
Later.